Ooh, look at me. I am way too small. Good morning, friends. How are you? I'm Lauren Conlon of Pop Crime TV. Before I get started, I have awful construction that's going on in this area of my apartment, my neighborhood. Can you guys hear that? Is it obnoxious? Because I feel like I'm yelling trying to talk over this construction. I'm gonna wait for the chat. It's okay. It seems to be quieter now, but it's so frustrating. So I apologize. Let me know. But we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of rabbit holes to go down. Oh, great. Okay, nobody can hear it. Amazing. Well, it's not happening right now. I think I'll point out when it is happening just in case. I'm so glad. Okay, so as Dizzy mentioned before, she said, "Wait, did Jessica Alba die and I didn't know about it?" No, Jessica Alba is still alive. She is not deceased. However, I wanted to bring up something that happened to her, Jessica Alba, in 1996 that no one seems to talk about. The fact that she was kidnapped from the set of Flipper, put into a trunk where she was held for a few hours, and she managed to escape or she was let go. And these perpetrators were never caught, and she has never spoken about it publicly. It's very interesting. I know it's crazy. So I want to say hi to the chat really fast. Dizzy, how are you? Steve, so happy you guys are here. Sue, Charlotte, all the way from the UK. Sheila is, I always get this confused. Is Sheila from Ireland? Are you from Ireland? Or are you from Scotland? Sheila's not even here. What the hell? But I'm shouting her out anyway. Dizzy, love to see you. MJ, love to see you. Texas Proud. Diana, so glad you're here. Cyber Sleuth, Steph, Oasis. Okay, Trishy, great. So I'll start really quick with Jessica Alba, just like I said, because there's not that much information out there, but it's really weird that they seem to have sealed the police report or the affidavit because I could not find it anywhere. And Jessica Alba has never spoken out publicly about this. Now, if you are kidnapped and thrown into a trunk as a teenager, I would think that this is a very traumatic event that would stick with you, especially if you were in the middle of filming a movie and she was in the middle of filming Flipper, and she went back to work and was filming after this kidnapping occurred, which is kind of crazy. So I'm going to pull an article up, and like I said, there's not much out there about this, but it just gives me so much to think about now that I spend a lot more time in the crime space. And I used to work for this very clickbaity, gossipy website called Nikki Swift, and I had written an article. It was more of a feature, and it was based around just sad occurrences in Jessica Alba's life. And so when I was researching that Jessica Alba actually had kind of a sad life, I was shocked to see that, oh my gosh, she was also kidnapped. I mean, she also has interviews where she talks about growing up in this very religious family where she was made to go to church and she wanted to leave her church, which was really looked down upon in her family because she fell in love with I guess Jessica Alba called them a drag queen. It was a man that dressed as a woman. And I don't even think they'd be called trans now. I think this was like a full-blown drag queen. So I'm not being disrespectful. But let me find exactly what I would like to show you all because I have so many links here that I've been preparing for this stream. Okay, Jessica Alba. Let's start with the Daily Mail because they did seem to have a good amount of info here. All right, I will make myself a bit smaller for real this time. Okay, so it says the the kidnapping case that shook Hollywood. I don't really know about that because I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. But it says at the age of 15, Alba was kidnapped while filming the television series Flipper in Australia, and the case has never been solved. She was shooting scenes for Flipper when she mysteriously disappeared without a trace. It says that her family and friends and the crew working on the TV show were left frantically searching for her for 14 hours. I mean, I would hope that the police were also involved in this search for her. That's kind of random that they don't include law enforcement, but okay. However, it says the young actress reportedly received unsettling phone calls prior to being kidnapped, and it's been claimed that some thought the two may be connected. Now, it's 1996. Did we have cell phones in 96? I'm drawing a blank here. I know that we had car phones. I remember my dad, I thought it was so cool because he had a car phone, but I don't know if we had cell phones. So what were they calling the trailer? And if they did have cell phones, yeah, maybe Jessica Alba had one because she was a privileged Hollywood actor, but no, I don't think they had cell phones. So they must have been calling her trailer phone or wherever she was staying in Australia. That's, again, another thing that's really unclear. Why is this so fuzzy? Is this bothering you guys? This fuzz? Everything is bothering me this morning. It's one of those mornings, and it's Friday. I shouldn't be like this. Okay, let me go back to this. So calling her phone, we can establish that no cell phones exist, but maybe a trailer phone, maybe a phone on set. Now it says investigators and authorities never found any concrete evidence that linked the phone calls to her kidnapping. Investigators were unable to identify any suspects for the crime as there was a lack of forensic evidence or eyewitness accounts, which is, yeah, that's really interesting. So Jessica Alba disappeared from the set without a trace, and she returned back, I guess, hours later, and she couldn't tell the police anything. She couldn't tell them who did it. She couldn't tell them what they looked like. I mean, she gave no information. I feel like, in my opinion, Jessica Alba knew who her kidnappers were, and she was protecting them. I think that could be one of the only explanations here. That's just me. And let me go to the Daily Mail. Didn't really, I mean, they resurfaced this whole kidnapping thing when Jessica Alba announced that she split from her husband, because let's be honest, a kidnapping probably gets more clicks than a divorce. So let's see. It's been reported that after months of searching for leads, the investigation stalled and the case was ultimately closed without resolution. Alba, who is known for remaining tight-lipped when it comes to her private life, has never spoken about her ordeal publicly. She enjoyed her main role as Maya Graham on Flipper from 1997 until 99. Then she went on Yeah, that's her. It says that she was found tied up and gagged in the trunk of a car after going missing. I mean, it really doesn't make any sense, because we also don't know, like, did somebody find her in this car? Did the car have a license plate? Who was it registered to? I mean, these are things that we should know. And this just, yeah, it really doesn't make any sense to me that police never figured it out. I just don't buy that. It was definitely a cover up, and Jessica Alba knows who kidnapped her. And this is a disturbing thing to talk about. So I'm not blaming Jessica Alba at all. I mean, she was a young girl, and we know now, I'm just going to say it, how the Hollywood industry is and what they do to young women, and especially what they did to young women and young men. Let's just be honest, young boys back in the 90s, and it wasn't really discussed as being anything nefarious. It was just kind of normal. So yeah, she probably knows who did it, doesn't want to talk about it. I'm sure she's had a lot of time to think back on this, but none of this makes sense. If she's found in the trunk of a car, they would have known. They would have had fingerprints somewhere. I'm sorry. They would have. 1997, you've got you've got enough going on with DNA testing. They could have solved this, but I just don't think Jessica Alba wanted this to either A, be solved, or B, she didn't want to be maybe that person that could have been, and my speculation, my opinion, maybe assaulted by older men. Who knows? But it's really sad. It really is sad. I'm trying to think. So I should pull up this old article that I did, Tragic Details About Jessica Alba. And yes, while Nikki Swift is not the most hard-hitting news website, none of us were going to win Pulitzer Prizes or anything. I like to research. You guys know that I like to do my research. So I did kind of go deep into Jessica Alba, where I found a lot of interesting things. And yes, MJ, in the press, she is very private. You don't hear much about her. So that's why it was so interesting for me. I'm gonna switch this light. Maybe this light will make it less blurry. Oh, it kind of worked. Look at that. I'm getting so technical. Damn. Good job, Lauren. Oh, there goes my green screen. Okay. So yeah, let me pull this up. She is pretty private. I just lost it. All right. Tragic Details About Jessica Alba. This is some of her talking on a podcast, but developing early in her childhood led to labels being made about her. She opened up about her past in a book of essays written by female celebrities called If I'd Known Then. And Jessica Alba describes that she developed early as a young girl, and she had boobs before everybody else did, and she was called an SLUT at her school, and even by her principal and some of the PTA moms, which is so crazy. It just kind of shows us what a different time we were in back then. And she also said that she'd pretty much go out with any boy that asked her out, because she would rarely get asked out on dates by anyone, which I found to be weird. She also noted that because she went through puberty at an early age, she had like uncles that would linger when they hugged her, and that just really grossed her out. And yeah, I don't blame her. And I think this really just, Jessica Alba has so many similarities to Brooke Shields, in my opinion, just being sexualized and growing up in this era where they mature early and they're not necessarily thought of as young girls or preteens. They're thought of actually women who just happen to be little girls. It's gross and sad. But then she began dating a much older Michael Weatherly, and he was her Dark Angel co-star. So she dated him, and they were engaged when she was 20 and he was 33 years old. And her Christian parents, they did not approve of this relationship. They actually, Michael Weatherly was called out by Eliza Dushku, the actor, on the set of Dark Knight for, I think it was SA. So he'd been accused of some things as well. So I don't really know what to make of that. But Jay for Justice, good to see you. And yeah, I know a lot of celebrities say that. Gosh, and going down this, what I had written, I'm like, wow, it's like I'm reading this for the first time again. And I wrote it like 4 years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, developing early, gave her some labels. Weatherly, Eliza Dushku called him out for sexual harassment, and nothing ever happened. So I don't know. That doesn't give me great feelings about him and Jessica Alba. I had said before, she left her church, much to her family's dismay. She was very religious. And she actually says, this is what I was talking about, she wanted to leave because she fell in love with a drag queen who was bisexual, and he was a ballerina. And she loved going out to gay clubs with him. And I'm kind of like, oh, honey, you shouldn't fall in love with him because he's not going to like you that way. Oh, MJ, sorry, maybe I shouldn't have pinned that. Sorry. I feel you on that. Actually, I shouldn't say I feel you on that, only because I've never had a C cup, not even at 40. So, but I do understand what you're saying. Yeah. So Jessica Alba, she kind of was, I don't know, I don't want to say she was a rebel, But yeah, she left her church and she was hanging out with drag queens and she wanted to run away. And then this is where I get into her kidnapping on the set of Flipper, found in the trunk of a car, bound and gagged. I had said, okay, I noted she went missing for over 14 hours. That's a long time. Guys, that is a long time. Yo, what happened in those 14 hours where she was bound and gagged in the back of a car, in the trunk of a car, but yet we don't know who it was. We don't know whose car it was. We don't, yeah, okay. Or I don't want to say we, because, right, police, they don't know us anything. Jessica Alba, she doesn't know us anything. So maybe they do know what happened and they're just closing the books on this. Really, really sus, in my opinion. But I also don't want to disrespect Jessica Alba if she wants to put this behind her. But like Steve, like you are saying right now, you've never heard of this. And it's crazy that this is, this is such a big deal and most people have not heard of it. So this is interesting. This is where I do get a little fuzzy. It keeps saying after a considerable search, Alba was found in the trunk of a car, bound and gagged. I'm guessing police. It doesn't say she escaped, and every article seems to say the same thing. And it says, unfortunately, Jessica Alba was unable to provide police with any type of information about the abduction, so the case was eventually dropped. She's remained very quiet about the situation and has never publicly discussed the kidnapping with the media, although it was eventually leaked to the press. So it sounds like she wants to just forget about it. And I have another apology to make. So you guys know a lot of the time I do something to my top lip. I'll just say it. I do a lip flip and it just keeps it straight when I'm talking. But for the first couple days, I'm like, I can't really wrap it around a straw or anything. So sometimes when I talk, it gets a little weird for the first couple of days. So just bear with me if I look funny or if but I really enjoy the lip flip, but for a few days after. Thank you for not judging me. But yeah, if you see me, okay, yeah, Phil, I'm dying. Steve, no, it's basically where they inject Botox into your top lip. So if you're talking and you're smiling, your lip doesn't go up like disappear like a squirrel or something. It's not a big deal. It's just, I don't know, it makes me feel better about myself. Anyway, I'm being honest with you guys. So yeah, if you see me drink and I'm like this, because that's the only way I can drink right now. So, I mean, yeah, not a lot of info about Jessica Alba and the kidnapping. I mentioned she was bullied in school. She never fit in. It's really sad. She said that she had to eat her lunch in the nurse's office so she didn't sit with the other girls. And her dad had to constantly walk her to school so she wouldn't be attacked. She also was very poor and her parents were mixed race. So, I mean, nothing helped her situation. And so I think that the fact that she was so beautiful and developed at a young early age, it caused her to get bullied. And it's awful. And I go on in this article, both her parents had cancer and her mother had cancer at a really young age. And Jessica Alba said that she had 5 surgeries before she was 11 years old, chronic allergies, and had a chronic illness that she doesn't really go into, but she was hospitalized a lot as a child. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. Her dog, I don't remember this. Her dogs died within 2 weeks of each other. Oh, I do kind of remember that on Instagram. But yeah, anyway, and she's out of the spotlight. And that's the truth. She generally is out of the spotlight. And we don't, like I said, we don't hear about her a lot. We heard that she's getting divorced and she has 3 kids and she owns Honest. I kind of love their products. I loved all their baby products, but I think we can put a pin in Jessica Alba right now. Her husband, I think he's a little bit older. I think her husband's he's in his 50s. He actually, Cash Warren, I remember they met because he was a production assistant or something like that. I mean, it wasn't this high profile Hollywood relationship, but I want to talk about Anne Heche now, guys. I want to get into Anne Heche because I have a lot to say about Anne. Let me pull up Anne right here. Just be a little video. There's nothing. Yeah. Okay. Anne Heche, guys. If you don't know Anne Heche and her history, I'm about to blow your mind. Anne Heche, she grew up very poor, and she had a few brothers and sisters. I believe 3 or 4 brothers and sisters. No, yes, she had 4 siblings, 5 kids in her family, including her. Now, Anne, she grew up moving around. She lived in Chicago, and eventually her family had settled for a while in New Jersey. And her mom was a God-fearing woman, very Christian, but a little strange. And her mom, these are allegations that Anne made in her book. Take them for what they are. But just to go back a little bit, when Anne and her family moved to New Jersey, they had a family of 7 living in a room that belonged to a friend. They were so poor, they didn't have a house. And Anne's father had always said that he worked in gas and oil. There's no records of him ever working in gas and oil. And they, again, were very poor. Anne's father was said to be a sexual deviant, and he died at the age of 45 of AIDS. And Anne details all of this in her book. And she calls him a deviant because she says that, you know what? I wonder if I can, this is so distracting. I'll just pause it really quick. Is there a picture of her I can just get? Let me see. So Anne says in her book that her dad is a deviant because he didn't care who he slept with. He did not care if it was a man. He did not care if it was a woman. And he did not care if it was a child. So you guys know I'll say that very quietly. He didn't care. So Anne alleged in her book that her father violated her from when she was an infant all the way up to her being about 13 years old. And not only that, but she alleges that when he violated her at some point, since he was going out and doing all the things that he was doing, he gave her herpes. And her mother knew about it, per Anne. And her mom did the whole Kitty Menendez thing and turned the other cheek, looked the other way. And Anne, when she got herpes, her mom just said, it's a rash. And she wouldn't take her to the pediatrician or to the doctor. So Anne has just major issues from that. And again, this is all in Anne's book. And a few months after her father died, Anne's 18-year-old brother ran his car into a tree and he died. And Anne said, oh yeah, my brother died by suicide. And her mom was like, no, he fell asleep at the wheel. Her mom definitely seemed like she might have been in denial about a lot of this stuff, but her mom also seems like she had a tough life. I mean, yeah, between her children and her husband, but a little delusional, in my opinion. So Anne was discovered doing a school play in I think it was New Jersey, maybe, or maybe it was Chicago. I can't recall. But anyway, this agent from New York wanted to fly her to New York and say, you've got to do these soap operas. You'd be great. Her mom said, not until you finish high school. So once she finished high school, she flew to New York. She was 17 and she began this, wonderful career. And in 1997 is when she met Ellen. And then her and Ellen split by the year 2000. And she ended up dating a man and she ended up having 2 sons. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the year 2000, Anne, it was kind of a big deal. Anne was found in the woods, lost. It was just, I mean, it was like she was knocking on different houses, going from house to house, and they called it Anne Heche's Lost Weekend. And she appeared to be high, and many attributed this to this post-breakup bender that she had with one of her children's fathers. And yeah, I can pull up the article it's, I mean, I remember this specifically when she was just kind of running around, and there was no statement made by her, but a law enforcement source said there are indications that she may have been under the influence of some kind of drug. And the person that whose door she knocked on, it was in Fresno, California, to be exact. She had told them that she was God and she was going to take everyone back up to heaven with her in some kind of spaceship. And then she was found on the doorstep of a farmhouse in Western Fresno County and made strange statements to different residents, to which they called an ambulance, and then sheriff's deputies and the ambulances were summoned, and she was taken to a nearby hospital. And then the sheriff had said, we determined that there was a medical problem and we sent her to the University Medical Center. So, I mean, she just spent one night there and she was treated by doctors for about 2 hours, according to reports. And people have said, we have no idea why she was there. There's no rhyme and there's no reason, but she had abandoned her Toyota, her car, and she got out and then just started walking along the dirt road and then going to these houses. So for me, all I can speculate here is that she was on some kind of drug fueled whatever, mushrooms. I don't know. It sounds like mushrooms, right? Or some kind of hallucinogen if she was knocking on doors saying, I'm going to take you to heaven in a spaceship. I feel like that could be a thing. So let's fast forward. I mean, Anne had always had some issues with drugs. And I want to fast forward to her 2022 death. And I had interviewed Anne. I had interviewed her in 2020. It was COVID, and she was doing a movie with the man she was dating at the time, Tom Jane, and it was directed by Peter Fasinelli, who's also an actor. Now, I'm a little mad. I've mentioned to you guys, I've interviewed so many actors and actresses, and I cannot find half of this footage because I have switched computers and I'm just a hot mess. I didn't start doing video and YouTube until, this past summer. So what I did find was a couple things. Yeah. So this is what I found. I'll show you two part. No, Dizzy, I have some of it. I have some of it. And I have all of the audio and I have some of the video. And I went when Anne was first in this accident, and I don't want to go too out of order, but when Anne was first in her accident, we were told that she would make a full recovery. We were told she'd be fine. And I'll go back to the footage that we see of her being taken out on a stretcher after we're told that she was burned. Her body was burned everywhere. I saw one of the most chilling things I've ever seen with her getting up from the stretcher. And again, I'll show that. But just going back to this, a couple things. We're told she's fine. We're told she's okay. So I went on Fox News, and I'll play this clip, and they actually played some of my interview that I had. They didn't play like the sound, they had it in the background, but the way I'm talking, okay, and the way they have a lawyer talking is like, oh yeah, I'm saying she's fine. I'm kind of smiling and laughing, and I always get crap for just my face, right? Everyone's like, why is this girl smiling about murder? Well, I'm not, and it's just my face. And at the time, we all thought Anne was going to be fine. I had a direct connection to one of her reps. They're like, she's fine. She's fine. So, and this lawyer was like, yeah, she's going to get charged with XYZ. Let me play this for you. This is on my YouTube. So someone just tell me if I play a clip, it's Fox News, but I uploaded it to my YouTube. Can I play the whole thing? It's really short, but am I going to get a copyright infringement? I'm just not even sure how some of this works. So please let me know. All right, where is it? Okay, here it is. And by the way, like I said, don't judge me. This was 3 years ago. I was at a beach house and I was not camera ready, and it's dark, and I'm not going to make excuses for myself, but it's just a heinous setup, and I'm very sorry. And oh my gosh, that's definitely for That's for another live, but no, I can get into that later. But no, thank you. All right, I'll play part of this. Okay, I won't. Okay, thank you. All right, let me play this, and you'll just see. You'll see the demeanor, and you'll kind of see. You'll see my interview with her in the background, which I'm going to talk about, and I do speak about this because it was so shocking when I interviewed her. Shocking. Lawrence, thanks for having me. So I interviewed Anne in 2020. I'll make it louder. Sorry, guys. Okay. 20 for an independent movie she did called The Vanished. And, you know, I chalked it up as everyone kind of being stuck at home during quarantine, but she was so off and it was very, very troubling, very concerning. She was slurring a little bit. At one point, she made a comment about the movie saying, you know, I don't even know why this movie got made or how it got made. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, aren't you supposed to be promoting this film? We're supposed to be going to see it. And I was frankly, I was shocked that nobody had me pull this interview. So Anne has been struggling for a while now. I have always been sorry. Did my voice get 16 pitches lower? I mean, I like my voice better now than then, but holy crap, that must have been a nerve thing. Sorry, I don't know how your ears are handling this, you guys. Okay. So. A fan of her. Let's not forget, Anne has a book out where she said her father molested her as an infant and gave her genital herpes as an infant. Anne has 4 siblings. 3 of them have passed away. Anne has 0 relationship with her mother. She is, you know, she's a very, very troubled woman, a very talented actress, and my heart goes out to her.
Real quickly, Lauren, there were some reports talking about her driving back and forth, speeding in the neighborhood. We can't confirm that, but have you heard anything about that from your sources?
Yeah, I've heard exactly what you've heard, Lawrence. And I also heard when she crashed into this garage, she tried to get herself out of the car and then just decided that, you know, this is not going to work. I'm just going to speed away. And then this is eventually how she got into her second car crash.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Let's bring in Mr. Claypool. Thank you, sir, for joining the program. I want to talk about some of the legal charges that could possibly be going on. We're hearing from her family. They're saying that she's in our thoughts and prayers, but they asked for us to respect her privacy during this difficult time. We're way past that. Does Gascon charge her for fleeing the scene?
I'll play that again after. Ah, God.
Yeah, hey, Lawrence, great to be with you. What? I mean, the legal charges Anne Heche is potentially facing are a DUI with severe property damage, reckless driving, and then also, I did a little bit of research, she could be charged by Gascon for what's called assault with a deadly weapon, because a car is a deadly weapon, and she ran right 30 feet into that house and nearly killed the folks in the house. That carries a 2 to 4 year jail term if she's convicted. The DUI, they've got to do a blood test on her. I'm sure they did at the hospital. We've got to find out what her blood alcohol was, and you've got to find out if there were any other types of drugs in her body. But the good news for Anne Heche, she's very fortunate, Lawrence. In California, even if there's severe property damage, that does not enhance the penalties for her. That's still charged as a misdemeanor. But the reckless driving, which I'm sure she's going to be charged with, that typically is a misdemeanor in California. But Gascon has the discretion to charge that as a felony. And if he does, that carries up to 2 years in jail as well.
Yeah, we're going to continue to follow the investigation. We don't know if they tested the blood, but there's pictures circulating what appears to look like an alcohol bottle. We don't know that for sure yet. Lauren, what else can you tell us from those in Hollywood? A lot of support from those folks on social media now, but if something was going on in her life, was there anyone talking about that?
Yeah, I mean, Anne Heche has been working on a bunch of different projects lately, but none of them are studio motion pictures. Anne Heche has been working on Lifetime movies. She even was a judge on Dancing with the Stars in 2020. So she's doing a lot of different projects that we are not used to seeing her in as an audience. You know, we're used to seeing her in big movies like Psycho and Donnie Brasco, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I think she's been struggling for a while now. And like you said, a lot of celebrities are coming out on social media and supporting her and offering just positive messages for her. Tom Jane was a big supporter of hers. She was dating him in 2020, actually, when I had interviewed the both of them, and they broke up recently. But he is all for Anne, and he thinks that she's doing fine in the hospital and she's going to recover.
Wow. We'll be following Lauren. Brian, thank you so much for joining the program.
Okay, so sorry. I can take another day to break down Lauren 3 years ago and Lauren now. Let me just go like that, like I could do on screen. Like, who does that? Let me just tell you the news, and I know, ridiculous. Anyway, I've come a long way, you guys. Okay, but we can go back because I do have the 911 call, and I want to go back to what we saw, which was one of the most chilling things, in my opinion, is when she sat up off of the stretcher. But at this point, I had asked, and this was a few years ago, this is almost 3 years ago, I had asked people in the medical professionals, people that EMS, I had asked firefighters, I had asked first responders. I mean, and they all seem to have different things to say. Let me pull up the 911 video. Different things to say about why she sat up and what she was, if she was in a burn bag, if she was, I mean, it was all over the place, but people had different answers. And a lot of the answers were like, if she was actually burned, because there were reports that she was in that car that was inflamed. And I'll remind you guys, and I'll play this video, but she went 100 miles an hour. A ring cam captured her and her car going 100 miles an hour down the back street of this neighborhood, where previously she had crashed into some storage facility. That's when she backs up and then starts going fast down this neighborhood. And then she essentially hits a sidewalk, goes airborne, goes directly into this house, and the car blows up. It's in flames. And yes, it was reported she was in there for an hour. I don't know how that would be possible if the car is actually engulfed in flames. And I've learned a lot this year. You know, Nicole Angemi, I've had on the show from Mother Knows Death. She's a pathology assistant. She's written books, and she taught me a lot about burn victims, the subway burn victim, just the burn victim that we saw at the Philadelphia plane crash. And burn victims, when they are they go into shock and they cannot move. So when you are burned so badly, you can't move. You literally can't move. So I don't know necessarily if she was burned that badly to the point of she was in shock. And we can zoom in. Her back didn't look, I mean, but I don't know what it's supposed to look like exactly, but it didn't look like it was missing layers of skin. It didn't look like, but it was weird. So it was like, you know, we see Anne Heche want to escape this body bag thing because look, you saw it. She's covered. It's like zipped up almost. We saw her try to escape that. We're told she's doing well. She's going to make a full recovery. The next thing you know, she's on life support. The next thing you know, she's brain dead and they're trying to like salvage and harvest her organs here. So it's like, wait, what? Let me pull up the 911 call and the fact, where is it? Here it is. Okay. Sorry, stay with me. I exited off of this. All right, got it. And Dizzy, you said the skin becomes so tight that it won't stretch to allow movement. Right, exactly. And I'm curious as to where, I mean, I don't think the car immediately burst into flames. Perhaps it's true she was trapped in the car for an hour, but it didn't burst into flames until, 45 to 50 minutes from, when she crashed. I mean, it's really, really perplexing here.
For the first time, we are hearing the 911 call placed from the scene of Anne Heche's fiery car crash. The caller could actually hear screaming coming from the burning vehicle, but he had no idea it was a famous actress.
The 911 call is stunning.
A car just went through my neighbor's house.
Okay.
A neighbor calls 911 as the Anne Heche horror unfolds next door.
So that the car went all the way into the house?
Yes.
The caller has no idea that the driver who just crashed into the house is the famed actress.
Is the car on fire?
It might be. There's a fire. There's a fire, yeah.
We need to find out about that other person that's in the car.
Go this way.
Oh my
I don't know
goodness.
if it'll reach.
The caller is still unsure about what happened to the driver.
Is there anybody stuck in the car? Yes. So yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
somebody
close
is stuck
up
in the car. Big fire.
On
Try and
the
get the driver out of the car if we
body.
can. But I need you to stay in a safe location.
She breathed in
Okay.
thick smoke for more than an hour.
Okay. So that's when you can kind of see she's opening. I'm trying to
Before she was rescued.
Oh my gosh. This is right here.
hold on. I'm going to rewind that. Sorry. I went too fast. Okay. I cannot.
Before she was rescued.
Okay. I mean, what do you guys make of that? Literally, what do you make of that? Okay, this is interesting. You never heard she's going to be. No, this was often. This was crazy. This was literally either the day of or the day after she was fine. No, there was never a second person in the car. I don't know where that came from. She was alone. I think they were just confused. But no, 100%. The media was told, my source told me she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. And so that's, again, why when she passed away, not that it's about me or anything, but I'm like, man, what an asshole I am for sitting there smiling, saying she's going to be fine. And this lawyer to be like, yeah, she'll probably be charged with some blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, what? But this, I just want to close up again because her jumping out of this crazy body bag, I mean, it is something out of a zombie movie. I'm like,
Oh my gosh. This is right here.
why does it do that when I click it? Sorry. All right, I guess when I click it, it goes faster, but I'm going to do
She
it again.
breathed in thick smoke for more than an hour before she was rescued.
Oh my gosh. This is right.
Okay, one more time. There, okay. What? Her back is not burned, you guys, and I'm not a medical professional, but I don't think it looks like she's burned. Does anybody know if that is what a freshly burned piece of flesh would look like? Again, I spoke to professionals a few years ago about this, and they all had very conflicting statements saying, well, that could be one of those aluminum burn bags where it hurts so much, but so she has to. And then again, other people said, well, if she was burned all over her body, she would be in shock and she wouldn't be able to move. So yeah, it looks a bit like gray char. You're right. I'll finish this video really quick and then I'll show you guys something else.
This is right here.
And talk about eerie. In a podcast just released today, Heche reveals who she'd like to play her in a biopic about her life.
Miley Cyrus or Kristen Bell? I've already thought about it. The two of them share a personality, ability to face the world the way that I feel like I have.
Okay. Yes. So that was crazy. And yes, maybe we didn't really get a lot of information about this. And I think a lot of people were wondering. A lot of people had questions, especially since we were told that she would be fine. She would be completely fine. That was no fun. I was upset about that. And again, I not making it about me, but I would have been very sensitive to her children, right? She has two boys that were younger at the time. And I don't know. I didn't feel like I handled that very well. But what I will pull up, and it's so annoying because somehow this seemed to happen. I'll just search my YouTube because I have half of the clip from the interview on YouTube, the one I was talking about with Fox News. Somehow the other half just disappeared. And I remember when I uploaded this, I checked my work a million times. That's why I find this so odd that it seemed to disappear, the second half of this interview, because trust me, it was juicy. And Hold on. I'm pulling it up. All right. I do have the full audio, by the way, and I have that pulled up so I can put that up here in a minute. But all I remember is I was at my parents' house. It was COVID, and I was so excited to interview Peter Fasinelli, Anne Heche, and Tom Jane. And I was a big fan of all of them, and I had interviewed Peter Fasinelli before. And since Peter Fasinelli, he directed this movie and he wrote it, and I've changed a lot, I think, as a journalist, but I always really, this is part of the reason I don't want to do entertainment anymore. I really always wanted to make them happy. Even if I didn't love the movie, I always wanted to be like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. But I think the fact that Peter Fasinelli is so nice and so kind, I did want this to be a positive interview for him. And so when I interviewed Anne and Tom Jane, I don't know if it was because it was COVID, and I'll go to the audio so you can actually hear this because it gets cut off because the beginning is not bad. She has this gruff voice. I love that. It's just who she is. She slurs, and then it's not in the video. I'll play the audio, but then she talks crap about the movie. And, this is a junket. She's supposed to be promoting it, saying all these great things about it. So we go and see it. And she's like, oh yeah, they were so poor. I didn't even have my own trailer. I didn't even think this movie was going to get made. And, I've got a PR rep that's sitting in on this interview. And I'm like, is she going to tell me to pull this? Because I will be devastated because I really wanted to put this out there. But I don't think she was listening. But anyway, it was alarming. It was alarming that these two, and I want to say that this was like noon Eastern time. So it was like 9 a.m. In Hollywood, wherever they were. So, oh, hey, Rock. Hey, Simi. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. So I'll play part of this and I'll go to the audio part because it's so strange. I just found it to be so, so strange.
Going on. If you look at it one way and
okay, hold on.
Then because
of interpretation.
So unsettling. What is going on?
Yeah, I finished it and it tied it all together, and I thought it was amazing.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's the unsettling part.
Yeah.
What is going on? I'm being told something, but the story is something, but it's so unsettling because it doesn't exactly fit.
But that was the work
exactly
that we brought to it, and Anne brought a whole different sort of interpretation to the script that really made it fun for both of us to work on.
Because it was really about perspective. There are two different perspectives going on. If you look at it one way, and that's the way you see the movie, and then you go back.
Yes,
it's a completely different movie.
Well, as a mother, and I know you're a mother, I related to you, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, if my husband tried to have sex, I would be like, are you kidding me right now? Like, are you kidding? Like that to me was like, that's when I was like, oh my God, something is so off here because that would not happen. I was like, come on, Peter. I'm thinking to myself, you are a parent too. That wouldn't happen. And then
totally different way. So we had fun by playing two different realities in every scene.
Yes. I love that. I love that you guys actually are using the word fun too, because I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this is so intense and so heavy. So it's kind of amazing that you had fun.
How do we bring that humor to it, that life to it, and make it, so it's not so fucking heavy. You're like, oh, you're killing me.
Yeah. And Anne's got that crazy. You had that crazy going too. Where I was like, oh.
That's not hard for me to pull up.
Okay, so that's where it stops. I don't know what the heck happened. So maybe if my memory is literally not serving me, they did have me remove part of that. I have to go back and look, you guys. I have the worst memory these days. So Dizzy, thank you so much. You're so nice. I'm shocked. I said, Anne, you've got that crazy going. And she's like, that's not hard for me. Oops. So you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they did have me remove this, but I didn't remove it from the podcast. So I do have this, the iHeart. Okay, share this tab, and I'll go just towards, this is my old podcast. I'll go to the end. This is so, oh my gosh, it was so weird. All right, let me see. It's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I loved it. So when you guys
can you hear that,
made
guys?
This movie, I bet you didn't think you'd be doing a virtual junket.
No, we never.
It didn't
we've
cross
been
our
doing any
minds.
junket. We thought it would be a movie that would just
We
disappear.
weren't sure that it would
Nobody would see
have
it.
the legs that it has.
Really? Okay, so
wait, okay. So you guys, okay, so you heard that. So my whole point of saying that was, I bet you didn't think that you'd be doing a virtual junket, not like you wouldn't be doing a junket at all. I meant virtually because of COVID. Like, this is so weird. And they both are like, like it's, I don't know. Am I imagining it, or does they both sound like they're on something at 9 a.m. And please, if you don't think they do, please tell me that. You know that I respect all opinions. I just want to know if I'm the crazy one. I just thought they sounded so weird, but you'll see.
I love this movie. I told Peter that I think you'd be doing. I covered that.
Good movie, wasn't he?
It's so good. It actually was one of my favorite movies this year. It's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I loved it. So when you guys made this movie, I bet you didn't think you'd be doing a virtual junket.
No, we never.
It didn't
we've
cross
been
our
doing any
minds.
junket. We thought it would be a movie that would just
We
disappear.
weren't sure that it would
Nobody would see
have
it.
the legs that it has.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so I love this movie. I told Peter that I watched it during the storm in the Northeast, so I didn't get to finish it in one sitting, and I was really upset because I was so confused. I was like, your character's being really weird, Tom. I'm like, this is so strange. I didn't understand what was happening, so I'm like, something's really off here. So I finished it.
Like that.
Yeah, I finished it, and it tied it all together, and I thought it was amazing.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's the part. What is going on? I'm being told something, but the story is something, but it's so unsettling because it doesn't exactly fit.
But that was the work
exactly
that we brought to it, and Anne brought a whole different sort of interpretation to the script that really made it
fast forward a little bit
for both of us to work on.
Because it was really about perspective. There are two different perspectives going on. If you look at it one way, and that's the way you see the movie, and then you go back.
Yes,
oh my God, it's a completely different movie.
Well, as a mother, and I know you.
Okay, saw that.
No. But when you guys read the script, did you have the same reaction as me, I guess, or as a viewer? Like, you're reading it and you're like, this is a little off, and then you sort of pulled it all together, or did you already kind of know what was happening?
The script was actually written a little bit like kind of a crazy lady and a husband who was chasing her around, trying to
allowing her craziness to be her survival through trauma.
And when Anne showed up, she's like, no, we're not going to do that. This is how we're going to play this story. And Anne really brought this new interpretation of the script, and that's what we ended up doing. And that was what was so fun, because we're sort of playing two stories.
Yeah.
You can look at the story in one way, but the reality is a totally different way. So we had fun by playing two different realities in every scene.
I'm like, yeah.
I love that. I love that you guys actually are using the word fun too, because I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this is so intense and like
making fun of myself.
So it's kind of amazing that you had fun.
How do we bring that humor to it, that life to it, and make it so it's not so fucking heavy. You're like, oh,
yeah. And Anne's got that crazy. You had that crazy going too. Where I was like, oh,
that's not hard for me to pull up.
Okay. Wow. So you guys, I mean, you seem like you genuinely enjoy working together too, which is really lovely.
There's a unique thing when you get to be as old as we are. That when you look at movies, you come in a different way. We both love our craft. And this movie really challenged that craft. It's a really, there's a line that because each perspective is exactly true. And so navigating that line is going, wow, let's really pull in.
But we worked together on Hung 7 years ago.
Yeah,
All
that's
over
funny.
each other.
I do remember that, but very vaguely because I watched the first season. So yeah. But
Oh, good. Well,
Thanks,
now we'll
Lauren.
send you the next
No one
two.
cares.
there's a lot to catch up on during quarantine, but yeah.
That when we were 25 years old, Dustin Hoffman cast us in a movie together.
Oh,
That's how we first
And
met.
that's how we first met. We were brought into Dustin Hoffman's office and sat on the floor and read a script that Dustin said, "I want to produce for you two because you're two actors that
we love
probably don't know this."
So was it like?
I want to put you in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you guys? Was it love at first sight? Sorry, that's dumb, but
It took us 25 years.
It took us 25 years to figure it out.
But it's so
You know,
almost.
When you work with someone for 3 different times, you're put together 3 times.
Like
then you start paying
universe?
attention.
Yeah, okay.
that's interesting. So it wasn't you didn't feel that connection right away. I like that though, that you had to work at it.
I mean, we were too young to feel anything. I think we were both so nervous being Dustin Hoffman's office, anyways. And then, why does Dustin Hoffman like us? What's going on?
Oh my gosh.
You guys are so funny because I for one, I met my husband at work. I do not enjoy working with him.
Lauren, no one cares.
Find it extremely irritating. So I think it's lovely that
Cruise holding room.
Yeah.
And
we didn't have dressing rooms.
Oh,
we were
this was
standing in the trash.
Hold on, let me rewind this one because this is so weird.
favorite scene in the film that you guys shot that you think back about and you're like, oh, that was a great day or
So
that was
cringy.
a great scene.
None of it was great. We were we
None
didn't
of
have
it
a
was
trailer.
great.
We didn't have dressing rooms. We were standing in the trash.
Yeah. Literally.
Literally, we're sitting in the trash around us. We didn't have chairs. I mean, it was a tough.
Our holding room was the RV, and so was the cruise holding room.
Yeah.
And so everyone is in. We've never had so little privacy, which was an interesting way to be working through such a technical performance with people there because it would be raining. So everybody would come into literally the RV that we weren't shooting in. And it would be and that was our holding room. And it was very,
in the middle of nowhere too, I assume, because it was like, so desolate.
We were staying in a hotel that wasn't even
open.
Wasn't
even a hotel.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Maids. They opened the hotel just for
our crew.
For our crew, but they didn't have maids. They didn't have food. I mean, we're literally in an abandoned hotel. It was amazing. It was incredible.
Wait, so there weren't really any scenes that stuck out to you guys where you're like exceptionally proud of?
One I have a lot of fun with. One of the fun things about crafting this with Thomas was that
and sorry if you heard that, I was like, cool. So like, can you go back to like my question about any fun scenes, because you guys just talk crap about the situation, the living quarters. I was like, what? As they like talk over each other and just talk crap. I was like, wait. And like I said, you guys are so kind to hear my weird, cringy, awkward interviews from 5 years ago. This is almost done. There's only one other part I think I want you to hear anyway. So
by doing it this way, we could find the humor in it, which was what we were really once you lightens it up a little bit.
So heavy and depressing, you want to slit your throat.
And so when he goes,
very depressing,
and he's like, I want to have dinner. I'm going to have dinner. I'm going to have dinner. I'm going to have this dinner, and I'm going to do that. And she's like, oh, good. Well, let's just go. Oh, okay. Well, let's have a movie night.
Yes.
That when Thomas started that scene, that was pretty. That one was really fun because it brought up the truth of what really these characters were going, because he would never do that.
Never.
If it weren't for if their daughter was gone.
Yeah,
I won't give that away.
No, it's okay. Yeah. But no, that's exactly right. That's another part that I thought of. I'm like, they're not going to have movie night.
I was trying to keep them on track.
Your movie night, and so that was interesting. And Peter Fasinelli actually told me that he used to take his kids on an RV and do this, and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
And he was like,
and you survive. Can love survive
the tragedy?
Yeah. That's a really good point. And so much of these cases that you hear about, it doesn't survive.
Right.
I mean, most of them don't. Like Jean Benet is the one that sticks out in my head, how soon after they got divorced. It's terrible. But
well, that's a tough time surviving.
I really
in way less tragedy. So.
What am I even saying? John and Patsy didn't get divorced. So why did I say that? And they're like, yeah.
Right. Well, I really enjoyed this film. This was right up my alley as just a basic bitch here who just loves like, creepy thrillers where the kid's missing and this and that. I love it. So thank you guys for making a film like this for all of us to enjoy.
Thank you.
Listen,
hopefully I'll run into you guys again when partners are.
Oh,
let's do it.
Wait, so I left this one part in. I remember. I think it was, but she said something nice about me. I think. Hold on. If it's in here, let's see. But yes, Steve, if this wasn't the biggest train wreck of an interview, I don't know what the hell is. And that is probably why it is cut off on my YouTube. Dude, yes, drunk toddlers. And if you watch the Fox clip, like Tom Jane is like sucking on his pipe like during the interview. It's like, when you see the Blake Lively junkets that are resurfacing with Blake kind of sitting on her, her heel a little bit and she's leaning on the couch. Like, yes, virtual junkets are very casual, but they're not so casual that you would, smoke something or it's not like that. But let me just see if the ending is still here because the whole thing is when you're doing these junkets, your mic is hot the whole time. Not mine, but their mics are hot because they get kicked out of these virtual rooms. So you're going from room to room to room. And yeah, your mic is hot and it picks up on stuff. So let me see let's see.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
Her smile is captivating. Gorgeous.
Did you hear that? She did say it. She said, "Oh, her smile is gorgeous." And then Tom James said something. I don't even know. Like I said, but I forgot I kept that in there. Like, what kind of idiot am I? I'm just so proud that, I guess I was just so proud. But my whole point of that was that Anne Heche was definitely under the influence, as was Tom Jane. Clearly not well. And I want to remind you guys as well that I'm going to switch this tab really quick. When Anne, when her, I guess her autopsy was revealed to the public, they had said that she had traces of cocaine in her system, but she didn't have any alcohol, no alcohol whatsoever. I thought that was pretty interesting. And again, what I put up here, right here, I'll make myself a little bit smaller. This was the man who owned this wig shop that she went into. Thank you, Steve. Is that what I thought she said something like it was, it was just nice. I felt really good about myself. Thank you. But she went into a wig shop, bought a red wig before she got into this accident and died. And she, the wig owner said she was in good spirits. She was not under the influence. She was not slurring. And she even bought shampoo and conditioner for the wig. So how long after, Dizzy, I'm reading your question, how long after admitted to the hospital before she died? It was a couple of days. So it was rather quickly, and it took a turn. Yeah, I think within maybe 2 days, but don't quote me on that from what I recall. But I still think about that. And I know that this is very conspiratorial. And this is not my opinion, I guess. I just want to put it out there because it's conspiratorial. And I think that if you want to hear it, I'll just say it. But Anne Heche was working on a movie that had, it was pertaining to human trafficking. And the movie was called, I don't even know if it got released or not, but the film, I had it written down. It is called, wow, I thought, Girl in Room 13. That's what the film was called. I mean, she was working on that. I'm not saying that has anything to do with it. I don't want to disrespect anyone's family. But then you've got people like Chris Cornell, who died by suicide. And the last thing he went off on stage and he did this whole spiel on human trafficking. Yeah, then you've got Isaac Cappy, died by suicide, I believe, and it was 2009 after he went around calling other Hollywood actors pedophiles. There's all these things that I guess can be brought up, and I feel like it's worth bringing it up. I'm not saying that I believe in it or I don't, but you guys know that I do entertain it, but I would never want to disrespect anyone's family or, anything like that. So yes, she was taken off life support after falling into a coma. I guess she went brain dead. It's horrible. But I'm taking my time on this. So let's quickly get through. I want to quickly just give an update on Gene Hackman before I get into my last topic for today, which is the Burt Reynolds, which is crazy, crazy, crazy town. So let me just go. I'm going to share this. Gene Hackman. Okay. So right now there is going to be a press conference today. Dizzy, what time is the press conference? I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Let me see. Yeah, I believe that it's 3 p.m. Eastern, but apparently this update will have some information that will be very important to figuring out what exactly happened to Gene Hackman. And so I am very excited for that, but just a few things. I mean, I know I did. Hold on. Okay, Dizzy. Yeah, I'll find that out for you about Anne Heche for sure. But with Gene Hackman, when I did a live last week, I kind of, jumped on after the search warrant was released. And there's been information leaked since then. I feel like a lot of it is based on, this expert thinks that expert thinks this, which is fine. It seems like one of them died of a broken heart, yada, yada. Then there was an interview that came out, and they brought up what I thought was a pretty solid question, I guess, as to, well, if Betsy or Gene, if one of them was found deceased and the other one found them, I mean, maybe they were already dead. Maybe, I don't know, but why not call 911? Why would one not call 911 on the other? Thank you, Dizzy. 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Law and Crime for a press conference. And there's a lot of things you could say about that. Why did one not call 911? Well, maybe they knew they were dead, and maybe they knew that they were possibly going to take their own life. I don't know. Again, I hate speculating on this only because I don't want to put that out there if that's not the truth. And actually, of all places, I want to say Newsmax had a really good segment I can pull up on Twitter where they had I believe it was their dog's chiropractor or vet or something like that, actually say Betsy and Gene were such devoted and kind dog parents. They really wanted to clear their name on why the one dog was found locked in the kennel. They just said, they would have never, ever done that, that makes me think a lot. If Betsy was a lot more spry than Gene, and if you read more about their situation, about their life, Betsy was very, very caring towards Gene. She took care of him. She made sure he ate healthy. She made sure he exercised, and she would walk the dogs, and they would walk the dogs together. And so I think that for someone to step forward and say, no, they were really good dogs, I think that is really important, because I think that could help with this timeline. So maybe since Gene was 95 years old, he wasn't as mobile and couldn't necessarily take care of the dogs without Betsy. So she possibly was the one to pass first, maybe because she locked him in the kennel. This is just my brain going crazy in real time as I think about all of this. But yeah, I mean, we also saw that there was thyroid medication, heart medication. There's no hard drugs. I take thyroid medication. I know that's probably TMI, but yeah, I mean, a planner. They had a planner. They had a future. They were literally planning a future. So we think. So there's a lot to go through here, and I believe that yes, we need the toxicology report for sure. We also found that they misnamed some of the dogs, which or misidentified some of the dogs. I don't necessarily think that makes a difference as to what happened to Jean or to Betsy, but I think that it just, I don't know, it just adds to the whole suspiciousness of what happened to them. And the fact that we're even seeing aerial views now, bigger views of this house and how it was just a fortress. Really, nobody could really get in. And I don't know if this is also just people trying to throw fuel at the fire, but there were reports that Betsy used to always call her mother, who has dementia, in Hawaii, and she had stopped calling for the past 2 months. And this kind of goes hand in hand with Jean's daughter saying she hadn't heard from her father in the last 2 months. I don't know if, he was supposed to call her or she called him and he didn't answer. But yeah, they seem to kind of tell the same story here, that Betsy and Jean hadn't called their loved ones. I don't really know if that necessarily means anything. It could have been a busy 2 months for them. I don't have access to their planner, but what I do know is the chiropractor of the dogs, or the vet of the dogs, really wanted to clear the air and say they would never, ever purposely lock that dog in a kennel. And they didn't have that many visitors. They knew when their visitors were coming and going. So I will play part of this because, like I said, I found this Newsmax, believe it or not, little clip to be the most interesting or the most helpful. Let me share this. I won't.
With Hollywood legend Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog found dead inside their Santa Fe estate more than a week ago. While authorities say there's no obvious signs of foul play, the sheriff still calls their deaths unusual.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, this is all just really bizarre. So now in a Newsmax exclusive, the animal doctor who treated their dogs is...
Okay.
Good for Santa Fe Summit up here about past 10,000 ways. I think we just found one deceased person inside a house.
Are they moving at all?
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
This is where it all happened, high in the hills of New Mexico, where Hollywood icon Gene Hackman and his wife were found dead by a maintenance worker. There were no signs of forced entry. There was no physical wounds. I mean, this place is a fortress of privacy. We were even stopped by a security guard while trying to film. There's no one getting in or out without any approval.
There was no obvious sign or indication of foul play. There was no immediate sign of foul play. I haven't ruled that out yet.
The search warrant made one thing clear. Something about this scene didn't add up. Detectives found the circumstances suspicious enough to warrant a full-scale probe. Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, was found lifeless in the bathroom. An open prescription bottle nearby, pills scattered on the counter, and disturbing signs of mummification in her hands and feet.
Is this a good segment, or am I crazy?
One of their dogs, Zin, a mixed breed, was found dead, locked inside a crate. Dr. Sherry Gaber, a chiropractor specializing in animals, has treated several of Gene Hackman and Betsy's pets over the years.
Thank you.
She told Newsmax that they were incredible dog parents, people who would never intentionally hurt their pets.
She would never, ever, ever, ever put one of her dogs in harm's way.
Hackman himself discovered in a mudroom his pacemaker's last recorded activity on February 17th. Authorities seized key evidence, thyroid and blood pressure medication, medical records, cell phones, and a day planner. Each item a potential clue to unraveling what really happened behind these walls.
All right, Popeye's here. Get your hands on your heads. Get off the bar and get on the wall.
The man who played a relentless investigator in The French Connection, chasing criminals on the big screen, is now the subject of his own real-life mystery.
The sheriff's office has ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning. What about a toxic mix of prescription pills?
I don't know. I don't know when the cause and the manner will be determined officially.
For a Hollywood legend like Gene Hackman, his films left an unforgettable mark on audiences.
This is tricky.
But here in Santa Fe, The final chapter of he and his wife is the one the community is struggling to process.
We'll never have closure.
Oh,
I'm going to miss them forever.
that is so
I'm going to miss them
sad.
forever.
I'm going to pause on them.
I'm going to miss.
That is so sad. Oh my goodness. Well, I found that to be one of the better segments I've seen about Gene Hackman, and I forgot that I had not disclosed on my live, I think I put it up on Twitter, that yes, they found that his last movement from the pacemaker was about 9 days prior. And oh, drop a link for a member. What is that? Like a member link? Sorry, I'm so dumb with YouTube sometimes. Can you explain that to me and I'll do it? Thank you so much. But yeah, I thought that was a good segment, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what they have to say at 3:00, because I can't stop thinking about this. I know it sounds crazy, and I don't think anyone came in and did anything, but it's just, this would be really, I guess, if you were a new death investigator or pathologist, it's kind of like, how do you step into this crime scene, because that's what it is, and try to make sense of any of this? I mean, I guess I'd have to be at the crime scene, and you know, it's just, it's tough. It's really tough. And so I think you need autopsy and toxicology and all that stuff to obviously really connect the dots here. But oh yes, it's thank you. My channel name followed by join. Okay, so I can just do Pop Crime TV -join. Hold on. Like that? Oh, you need like a YouTube. Okay, like a YouTube. Sorry, I'm a dum-dum. All right, yes, I will do that. And then I will do that right after, but I think we just need to get to Burt Reynolds. I did, for fun, I was about to wash my face the other night, and I was like, you know what? I've got a story about Burt Reynolds, and I think that it needs to be told. And you know what? I'm going to tell it in my bathroom, because it's one of those stories, and it's a really interesting story. And I think that it's crazy that no one seems to know about this, and that no one has asked any questions about this. No one's made a movie about it. I mean, it's wild. So I'm going to update the banner right here and close us out with Hollywood suicides linked to Burt Reynolds. All right. Let me get Gene off here. You know what? I'm going to add this, because this is the second suicide. I'm going a little bit out of order here. And sorry, Hawkeyes, I don't have any mods because I'm small, so I don't have mods, just me, myself, and I. So, but I will do that at the end. But this is a crazy story about Burt Reynolds. And just to get into, I'll quickly just go into what happened prior to Gila Bend, Arizona in 1973. Let me actually go here to, I got to X out all the Anne Heche stuff. Gosh, that was so wild. Even just going back to it gives me chills. Her lost weekend, etc. Maybe I did not. All right. Let me pull this back up, because Burt's other co-star, about 3 years prior, her name was Inger Stevens. I'll pull this up first. This is Inger Stevens. Beautiful. She was a beautiful Hollywood bombshell. And I mean, I believe she had won an Oscar at this point, but she was really becoming an A-lister, on her way to becoming this A-list star. And she was doing a movie with Burt, and it was called Run, Simon, Run. That's them on their movie. And Burt was known to date his co-stars. He was known to date the Hollywood pretty ladies, and this was no different. But Inger, she had a secret marriage, And it was secret because she was married to someone who was not the same race as her, which I guess would have hurt her reputation back in the 70s. I'm not sure exactly all of the details, but yeah, so she was dating Bert, you know, on the DL, and Bert had always said to her, like, you're so amazing, you're going to win Oscars, and he really just boosted her confidence, and she liked that. I mean, who wouldn't like that? Am I right, ladies? Like, who wouldn't like a man at your job to just be like, you're so good at this, you're just so good at this? It would feel good. I understand that. So she took a liking to him. Oops, that's an ad. And yeah, she had a tough childhood. She was born in Stockholm, and her dad was emotionally distant. But it wasn't like, how do I say this? Like, a lot of people's parents get divorced, and it sucks. It really does suck. And it's traumatic, but they're okay. They are all right. So her childhood wasn't any worse than the next person. She didn't get beat by anybody. She didn't get but I'm not diminishing divorce. It sucks. I'm just saying everybody handles divorce differently. So her late teenage years, she found herself in Kansas City working as a waitress, a dancer of sorts. You guys feel me? She's so cute. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. And yeah, her future looked very promising. She started in television after being discovered dancing, and that led to films. That's an ad. And okay, so the night of her death, April 29th, 1970. Okay, let me go back. Sorry, let me pull this down here. 1970. She was dating Bert, and they were filming this movie, and they got in an argument, and it was a bad argument. And she had called her assistant, Chris, and said, you know what? I'm going to take a sleeping pill. I'm kind of upset. I don't really, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm just going to bed. And her assistant had said, yeah, okay, that's fine. He didn't think that she sounded any worse than normal, right? He didn't think that she sounded like, gosh, that she was going to do anything too drastic. But the next day, she was found dead on her kitchen floor, and her alcohol level, was 0.17, and there was a number of barbiturates in her system. So her death was ruled as acute barbiturate intoxication. However, what was also very weird about this is that, let me go back, is that she had a number of weird bruises all over her body, like she had gotten into some kind of fight or something. And the circumstances were strange. Her friends were like, well, this doesn't make any sense. She was literally doing better in life than she had ever done before. She, was winning awards. She was working with Burt Reynolds. This doesn't make any sense. And the last person that was seen with her was Burt Reynolds. And he was said to have a temper. This is just something that's pretty well known in Hollywood. So you could easily say, okay, well, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Definitely. We don't know what was going on in Inger's life. And there were other rumors. I don't know how true this is, but it would help to say it so someone doesn't come on and be like, well, I mean, there were reports that she had threatened to commit suicide in the past, but I don't know if that's true. What if somebody put somebody up to saying that? You just don't know. You don't know, you weren't there. So I want to cover that from all angles. And again, it wouldn't necessarily be, I don't want to say a big deal, but I don't think that anybody would say, oh, Burt Reynolds, unless something else kind of similar and sus happened, right? So just to close out Inger here, those close to her, assistants, friends, family, they definitely did not believe that she died by suicide. They said there's no way. She had roles booked. She had A-list movie roles booked. So we don't think that this is true. And so the possibility of a murder, yeah, they thought that was true. but it never was looked into. Her case was never reopened. And the coroner on her case was Dr. Thomas Noguchi. And you may know of him. He was a very famous Hollywood coroner. I believe he did Marilyn Monroe. He did Ingerstein. I mean, there's a whole, I think he might have even done JFK, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that up. But let's quickly move on to why this is considered suspect, in my opinion, because of something that happened 3 years later. 3 years later, and this is so interesting. I find this to be the most interesting. I'm going to share this. Bert, and I pulled up before an article that I found on newspapers.com. And are you guys still with me? Like I said, I think that this is super interesting, but maybe some of you guys are like, who cares? It's so long ago. I want to pull up a picture first so you could see Sarah Miles and Burt Reynolds. So you can see how adorable Sarah Miles was. Here she is. This is Burt Reynolds and Sarah Miles in the film The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing. And this is what they were filming. This is what they were filming in Gila Bend, Arizona in 1973. Sarah Miles, this actress, she's still alive. I think she's almost 90 at this point, and she's British. But Sarah Miles was the it girl, you guys. And it sounds crazy because you've probably never even heard of her, but she was dating like Laurence Olivier. I mean, I don't want to say she got around because like she was married, but it was very clear that her marriage, maybe she worked out a few understandings, if that makes sense. They had some kind of maybe not. I don't know. It just seemed like that because she managed to date a lot of people. She dated the late playwright Robert Bolts, like I said, Laurence Olivier, Burt Reynolds. But at the time of this movie, The Man Who Liked Cat Dancing, she was dating a 26-year-old man named David Whiting. And David Whiting was a journalist, a businessman, and he really loved Sarah Miles. And at the time, Sarah had a 4-year-old son. So David and Sarah's 4-year-old son, they go to Gila Bend, Arizona with her to film this movie with Bert. But they're respectful. You know, they had a nanny there as well for the young boy. And David was working, doing his own thing. But yeah, he did expect to see Sarah at night. You know, he wanted to hang out with her, and Sarah was his girlfriend. But Sarah was spending a lot of time with Burt Reynolds. And they were kind of secretly having a little fling. But I don't, you know, she has denied this since. And she has said so many conflicting stories. And a lot of conflicting stories about the night and the day of David Whiting's death. We'll get there. But one night, it's a cast or crew member's birthday, and Sarah and Bert, they go out. They're partying. They're pretty much out all night. And they go back to they're staying at like this motel room, and they go back to Bert's motel room. And they're hanging out for a while, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's so late. So she runs back up to her room that she's sharing with David Whiting. And apparently David Whiting freaks out at her, rightfully so. He probably starts yelling at her. And thank you so much. And I feel like this is not even that deep, but yeah, you'll see. So he starts yelling at her, and according to Bert, like she said Bert's name. She yelled for Bert. I don't really know if I believe that. I think that maybe they were just yelling at each other and Bert overheard. And so Bert rushes into the room and they start screaming at each other, David Whiting and Bert. And, you know, David Whiting is like, you know what? Like, F you guys, I'm out of here. And he leaves his own hotel room, motel room, whatever. Fine. So we don't know exactly what Sarah and Bert do, but maybe Sarah just, I don't know, they have a talk, but Sarah ends up going down to Bert's room. And she might have gone to the room with her son and the nanny. I believe that is in some reports as well. What is the truth? I don't know, guys. I don't know. What I do know is the next morning, David Whiting is found dead in his hotel room with blood. He's literally in a pool of his own blood, and he's out. He has signs of a fight. He has signs of possibly being in a fight. However, according to Bert, who told this to police, he saw David Whiting holding some kind of vial. I guess Sarah walked in, she found him, she called Bert, they called the police, and Bert said, yeah, no, he was holding a vial of some sort. Well, nobody found the vial. Police never found the vial at all. Weird. Now, this is an article that I found on newspapers.com. And by the way, David Whiting's death was ruled a suicide. So, and I'll read part of this to you, but yeah, it was ruled a suicide. So Sarah's son had claimed that at the time, she said, Burt Reynolds killed my boyfriend. And he said that to police, apparently. And then she said, oh, no, I never said that. I never said that. I was just upset. Like, he's 4 years old. Whatever. Okay. Well, that's a little weird. And this vial that Bert found, well, where the hell is this vial? If you saw it, like, where would it have gone? That's really weird. So, I mean, I'm just going through before I get to the newspaper article. I want to tell you, her son, his name was Tim Bolt, 4 years old, staying in the adjoining room when his mother was the one who found Whiting's body in a bathroom at this, it was called the Travel Lodge. That was the hotel. And it was on February 11th, 1973. And he claims, yes, my mom said Bert did it. She told me the next day. And now he, the son, who's now 55 years old, he said, no, I never said that. But he said that whole situation haunts him. So he's gone back on his word, but he's haunted by the situation. In my opinion, she probably did say that, and then she realized what she said, and she has kind of, I don't want to say it's mind control, but when someone can convince you that something happened, who knows? I feel like maybe that's kind of what she did there, my opinion. But he thinks that he may have witnessed it. That's why, I mean, it's so weird. They really don't have a lot of memories, but he has said this. And you know what? Let me drop this Daily Mail article for you guys so you can read it after. It's just, like I said, it's so bizarre. It's so unclear. But David Whiting's family, they weren't buying this. Let's just put it that way. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. One of my favorite phrases, besides in my opinion, and multiple things can be true at once, as you all know. But let me go back down to this article. Oh, he was so cute as a little boy. I'll show you guys this after. So she had to testify in court when his parents, David Whiting's parents, brought this to trial. And she had claimed that she really just didn't remember a lot. But again, her story kept changing. So as she tells the story, she said she was confronted by Whiting, who she claims had an unhealthy obsession with her after returning to her room in the early hours following a birthday party thrown by Burt Reynolds. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share this tab because it has really cool pictures in it, and then I'll go back to that. That's Sarah. She's so beautiful. So, and that's them on set after being thrown a birthday party. Yes, he gets violent with her. He starts yelling at her. He said, "It's late. Look at me. Where have you been?" And she says he was looking more nutty than I've ever seen him. She says, "You know damn well where I've been." Oh, and then she said that Whiting began to punch her. So, I mean, it's weird because he didn't have a history of punching her. That's what she said, or a history of abusing her. So that might be a little bit out of character, I guess, for him. Yeah, a little weird, a little weird. And she said that's when she called out. Oh, okay, here it is. I misspoke. She called out to the nanny and said, "Go get Bert." Okay. At which point Whiting fled into the night. So I've actually heard this story told multiple ways. So my way could be right, but either way, that's what happened. Bert comes in and Whiting books it. He's like, "Nah, I'm not dealing with this." Yeah, he fled. And then he said, it says he was shortly followed by Reynolds, who said he couldn't find him, and then invited Sarah Miles to stay in his room for safety. Okay. A pill bottle Whiting was allegedly clutching went missing. Reynolds, who said he removed it from the body, took it to Miles to ask for what Whiting had been taking and claimed he could not recall where he left it. What? Sorry, guys. What? Bert, that's obstruction, brother. Like, what? That is tampering, brother. I can't even. And apparently, when you're Burt Reynolds, that's okay. That's totally fine to do. Okay, cool. Got it. So one autopsy cast doubt on suggestions that the drugs found in his system, most notably methaqualone, a sedative hypnotic drug, were sufficient enough to kill him. Did he take the drugs in an attempt to calm himself down, or was he attempting suicide? All right. What do you guys think? Now, this is the last thing I'll read here. Bert. Real sus, my friend. So this says how the circus came to Gila Bend. Gila Bend is almost halfway, is the halfway mark on a drive from Tucson to Yuma. Blah, blah, blah. It's giving us a little rundown. Okay. For Whiting, once a correspondent for Time magazine, he first met the British actress where he was assigned to write a story about her. She was doing Ryan's Daughter. She'd been nominated for that, for an Academy Award. He did a story on her. It helped her career. And then, by all impressions, he became hopelessly infatuated with her. And she seemed to be okay with it. It seems like he was described by Miss Miles as a loner, a man who played at being brilliant. He could have been, but would not take the time to work at it. She described him as moody, violent, erratic. He seldom drank. He continually sprayed breath fresh in his mouth. He was either up or down, enjoying himself or locking himself in his room, staring at the ceiling. He was a loner who didn't socialize a great deal. Okay, he became brutally possessive of her. I mean, look, they were dating. Like she has said, I've seen clips of her saying that they were dating. She is completely distancing herself from this man. I feel like this is wild. I don't know. I feel like this is she's rolling back a little bit. Sorry, guys. I'll wrap this up. I know I've been going on for hours here and I actually do have work to do, but this is just so fascinating because I have not actually read this newspaper article myself yet. So I'm kind of doing this in real time. Okay. I just want to get to the part where it says, okay. It says Ms. Miles had been beaten by Whiting hours before he died and sought refuge in the room of co-star Reynolds. No, they were having an affair. Please. She's trying to save face. Blah, blah, blah. There were police questions, and the cast and crew of The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing moved to another location after this, 40 miles south of Tucson. So when she found him dead, he was head face down in a pool of blood from a head wound. Okay. And then Reynolds was summoned. So she calls Bert first after seeing a dead body, guys. You noting that? Let's not call the police. Let's call Burt Reynolds. Got it. Note to self. Just going through. Man, that's sus. Can everyone just agree on that? If you find a dead body, don't call a friend. Just call police first. It'll go over better for everyone involved here. So after he was summoned, he checked Whiting for a pulse, picked up a pill container from his clenched hand and put it somewhere. He doesn't remember what happened. Okay. did he say that he picked it up? This is okay. This is totally speculating, right? But did Bert say that he picked up this pill container and he hid it? But like, did he say this just in case police happen to find it and they did sweep for fingerprints? Wait, it was 1973. They can sweep for fingerprints, can't? No, they couldn't. Yeah, they could sweep fingerprints, just not DNA. Okay, and if they swept it, yeah, I know, right? 911 didn't exist, but the police freaking exist. You can call the cops, right? So, but no, they could sweep it for fingerprints. And maybe Bert would say, oh, well, yeah, I told you guys that I picked it up, didn't I? I mean, maybe. Just a thought. And Burt Reynolds, by the way, he died in, I think it was 2018. So, okay. So he tells them, yeah, I don't know where I put the pill bottle. My gosh, please, bro. It's like you're in a motel room. Somebody can it's not like it's your house. You're sprawling LA mansion. Like it's a tiny ass motel room in Arizona. But sure, let's all buy Burt Reynolds' story. And I like Burt Reynolds as an actor. That sucks. Okay. And again, my opinion, not accusing anybody, not saying anything. Okay, disclaimer, done. So police ask questions. The cast and crew answer questions. They move the set. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Justice of the Peace, whose Gila Bend court handles 500 cases a month, routinely issued subpoenas to persons knowing about the last hours of the life of David Whiting. The subpoenas include the names of Reynolds, Sarah Miles, and Jane Evans, the young, pretty governess, they called her, who was the 5-year-old boy's nanny. Routine, humdrum, boring subpoenas. By February 20th, Windsor, Windsor, a big, friendly, deeply tanned man who speaks slowly and with a trace of farm country accent, announces the inquest info into Whiting's death will be, what does that say? Inquest? I think it is. It's so small. Info will be held in the Whiting's that will be held on February 27th when Windsor isn't sitting on the bench. Oh, he's the judge. Okay. He's a plumber and a carpenter. Does that happen in the 70s? You can be a judge and a plumber and a carpenter? Weird. Okay. Comes the inquest in Gila Bend, attended by a handful of press, but including 5 reporters to London newspapers. They sit in the front row. Okay. Windsor sits behind a giant black plastic 8-ball. What the hell? He announces that he will continue the inquest even though Reynolds, Miss Miles, and Miss Evans have succeeded in gaining a restraining order, preventing them from testifying. Yo, where is Steve? I've gone on for too long. This is crazy. See, I didn't know this. This is why we're doing a real-time deep dive. What? I know it was the 70s, but how do you get a restraining order preventing you from testifying? And so by telephone, what? Oh my gosh. Ms. Campbell who's Ms. Campbell? I missed that. Miss Louise Campbell. Huh. I don't know who Louise Campbell is. It's no. I think she's, how did I miss that? Someone named Louise Campbell, Mrs. Newell Campbell. Oh, I think she's okay. I think she might be a family member of David Whiting. And it says, by telephone, Miss Campbell secures her only attorney and succeeds in stopping the inquest just as Windsor prepares to send out to the jury to reach a verdict. March 1st, 1973. By now, the British press is claiming the Rio Rico Inn, headquarters of Cat Dancing, the movie Entourage, and laying siege to the quarters of Reynolds and Miles. MGM retaliates. In comes the company's corporate counsel, the director of MGM, advertising and publicity, Reynolds' private public relations man. England, the papers are saying that, oh my gosh, reporters are banging on doors everywhere. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess this never went to trial. This is so weird. I'm confused. I mean, I'm genuinely confused here. What the heck happened? How did they? I have one more article right here. Still Death in Man's Mystery. So this one And like I said, I did a quick poll on newspapers.com this morning. So this one was dated, this was this was March of 1973. Let me see when this one was dated. Yeah, this is so strange. Bert, what have you done? In my opinion. In my opinion. Okay. Doesn't have the date on this one, but it says Gila Bend, Arizona, still mystery in man's death. It's a coroner jury. The coroner's jury in the Sarah Miles, Burt Reynolds case ruled Thursday. Oh, it's the official ruling that David Whiting died of a drug overdose. Sorry, I had to burp. That was so gross. But conceded that much of the affair is still a mystery, including whether he was beaten up first. Okay. A pathologist hired by the dead man's mother testified Whiting bore injuries showing that he was in a fight, which may be a contributing factor to the death. Whiting was found dead February 11th in the bathroom of Miss Sarah Miles' motel room. The actress and Reynolds were co-starring, drinking, testified at the inquest that Whiting beat her up when she returned to her room at 3 a.m. and would not say where she had been. She took refuge in Reynolds' room. And then they said Whiting was dead with a pill bottle in his hand when she returned to her room the next morning. Whiting also had a head cut. They testified that although Reynolds came to Miss Miles' aid, summoned by her maid when Miss Miles cried, "Get Bert," Whiting had left the room when the actor arrived. There was no confrontation between the two. Please, I don't believe that. The jury of 4 men and 2 women ruled that Whiting died of a drug overdose, but added, quote, whether this overdose was taken intentionally or accidentally, has not been determined. Also, it has not been determined whether or not the physical injuries found on the body were contributing factors in the death of how those injuries were sustained. The official Arizona autopsy declared that Whiting had died of an overdose of the sleeping pill. Weird. At the request of the dead man's mother. Okay, Louise Campbell's his mother. Sorry. So I said family member. Yeah, his mother. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner also conducted tests and confirmed the Arizona report about the pills. But an unexpected development, affidavits were entered into evidence Thursday just before the case went to the jury from a pathologist and a pharmacologist, casting doubt on that conclusion. They examined the body at the request of Mrs. Campbell, and they said, quote, it is my opinion that David Whiting was involved in a physical struggle or fight prior to his death, stated Dr. Robert Wright, forensic pathologist for the city and county of San Francisco. Wow. And then another doctor said, Dr. Frederick Myers said, the amount of drugs taken by Whiting was not lethal and were way too small to be consistent with the usual suicide or accidental overdose. Wow. Guys, that's crazy. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Okay. I feel Sarah Miles is still alive. She's 80. Her son's still alive. Sarah Miles, it's time to tell the truth. Sorry, I've lost all of you. I know I've gone on for almost 2 hours. I'm just shocked right now. I loved that we did this deep dive together, and I feel like I have to go a little bit further now because like I said, I've heard the story. I've gone down a bunch of Reddit threads, but this morning was the first time that I decided to pull some of these clippings from newspapers.com. But yeah, oh my goodness. I need to go deeper into this. I need to contact Miss Sarah Miles here. But anyway, I hope you guys liked this live. I hope to be going through some more kind of Hollywood stuff because I do have so many interviews in the can that at the time that I was doing them, I was doing them for publicity purposes for the films and for the movies. And so it wasn't like I could do an interview with Anne Heche and I also didn't have a YouTube channel. I mean, I uploaded them to YouTube, but I didn't really do, a channel like this. And I couldn't really say, wow, Anne Heche shocks with her insane slurring and this ridiculous interview, because then nobody would want to work with me. None of the PR team would trust me. And I did not want that for myself and for my career at the time. So let's just put it this way. I do have a lot of those interviews in the can, and I got to get my computer and get to those. And I'm sure most of them are very cringy, like you saw. But all right, guys, thank you for being here. And Hawkeye, thank you for being so sweet. That's so kind. And Dizzy, God, you guys really stuck with me for these 2 hours. I wasn't planning to go this long. Like I said, I have work to do, but this was really fun to dive into. And I cannot wait to hear the newest developments with Gene Hackman. And oh, last thing, I think I'm going to do a live on Monday about the new Karen Reed ID special that's going to be dropped March 17th. Kind of stayed away a little bit from Karen Reed. There's so much going on with this case. I don't understand what's happening anymore. I just want the trial to happen. But I did get early access to a screener, and there's 5 episodes of this docu-series, and it's called A Body in the Snow, and it's directed by a woman named Terry Dunn, and she was the co-founder, the co-producer, director of Unsolved Mysteries. She's great. And I am going to look at that, so maybe we'll do that too. Oh, and side note, I should be doing an interview next week with Lori Vallow's niece. Her name is Kresha. So I'm talking to her. I've spoken to her this week, but we need to get an outline here because I think the coverage I'm doing in Utah paired with Kresha's knowledge about Lori Vallow and that Mormon stuff, it's mind-blowing. But yes, I'll do both of those. Oh yes, I'll do that too. I'll drop the link. But so just going back really quick to A Body in the Snow, I get these screeners early and I'm not allowed to talk about, I was told I can talk about the documentary on the 10th. It doesn't come out to the public until the 17th. And normally, like I don't care. I don't care to talk about these things. I'm like, yeah, people will like it when they, when they see it. I really want to talk about what I saw in this 5-part documentary. I really want to talk about it. And I was told by the PR team today, I can talk about it on the 10th, which is Monday. So Monday morning, I want to do a live, but I don't feel like getting abused, if that makes sense, you guys. Like, I feel like I get abused when it comes, not me, sorry, not me. Everybody gets abused when it comes to this. I just feel like I'm pretty respectful. I don't know. So, I was told you can talk about it, but no, sorry. The why I get these screeners early is because I'm going to interview. I have an interview set up with Terry, for next Wednesday about the docuseries. And oh my gosh, I have so many questions for her. I mean, so many questions. And there's a lot I want to say right now, but I will get in trouble. I know, such a tease. Yes, such a tease. But Monday morning, is there anything going on Monday morning, like a hearing for her or anything that would stop me, I guess, from doing a live? Dizzy, MJ, Afton, you're pretty good about this stuff. Let me know if something's happening Monday morning or if you think it'd be a good time to do like a coffee. Oh, shit. I can't do it Monday morning. Sorry. Oh, crap. Dang it. Maybe I'll do it Tuesday. This is actually exciting. I'm filming 2 episodes for this new Peacock show about homicides in New York. And that's going to be coming out in the fall, which if you've noticed, I've been doing a few throwback New York homicide episodes. I've been kind of throwing in some audio episodes. I did Sandra Bonaventure this week and I did another one a couple weeks ago, but yeah, shoot, I think I'm filming all day for that. So Tuesday, is there anything Tuesday? I really want to talk about this. I'm going crazy. Oh shoot. Tuesday is it? Oh, you're right. That's her hearing. Do you know what time that's at? Cause I'm talking to Kresha on Wednesday, and that'll be post Lori Vallow hearing. And I don't know who Joe Schmo is. I'm an idiot. I don't know anyone. Oh, so it's not. Yeah. Okay. Let me look this up really quick so we can just go through a schedule here. Lori Vallow, next hearing, Arizona. No, I know she did say Tuesday there is a hearing. Let me see. Yeah, Arizona. Do they televise? I don't even know. All right. So what time is Valo next Tuesday? I really want to do this. But if everybody's in like Valo mode, shoot, guys, maybe I can do it Monday night. Do people go live Monday night? That could be a good idea. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I always imagine somebody pauses me and I'm like, I've got like, the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning. Josh. Which one's Josh? Sorry, because I'm a dummy. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. What time does Josh go live? Because maybe I could try to do it earlier. I'll figure it out. But like I said, I just want to. Okay. 3:18 is Valo. Okay, got it. Got it. All right. So maybe I could either do Monday night or Tuesday for, okay. Okay, 7 Central. All right. That is that's 8 p.m. for me. So maybe I could just do a quick one earlier or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I could do 7 p.m. That I could do that. So do you guys prefer that, a 7 p.m. versus Tuesday during the day? That's doable. I think I get done at like 5:30 that day. So and I'll probably have good makeup. So that will make me feel even better. And hopefully my lip will have calmed down by then. All right. So I'll take a poll with you guys and I'll do that. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for staying with me for these freaking 2 hours. I didn't know how far I was going to go on this, but this was really nice. I'm so glad that we did this. And I feel like there's a lot going on with all these different cases that I need to get caught up on, like Courtney Clenny. I need to get caught up on. I mean, I feel like I've kind of been avoiding Reed because there's so much vitriol, and I'm interested in that case, but I'm also just like, dude, this is a lot. This is a lot. And is there anything else I want to get? There's always a lot, but and I do at some point want to go. You guys are so nice. Sorry, I wasn't saying that so you guys would give me compliments. You guys are so nice. Anyway, I do want to go into the wrongful death suits that were filed against the 5 defendants in the Kansas moms case, as well as the hospital and the therapist. And guys, if you listen to my episodes, when I saw that, I was like, I fucking told you. I told you. I couldn't say it outright, but I knew it. I knew it. So I do want to go over those because those are jaw-dropping. And I know they're just lawsuits, but there's proof there. I'm fairly certain there's proof there. So yeah. And then, a couple things I do want to plug. I would love for you all to head over, if you haven't heard my interview with Joyce Singular about, bye Rockshock. Thanks for being here. If you haven't heard my interview with Joyce Singular about JonBenet in that case, I would love for you to listen to it. And then, you should listen to True Crime Garage, their episode with Frank and Jim Zell, the Zell brothers, about their research, it's kind of parallel research to Joyce and her late husband, Stephen. But in my opinion, this is how this case is solved, by the Zell brothers and Joyce and Stephen's research. And although Stephen's no longer with us, they're still getting tips. I mean, they're getting tons of tips. It's wild. So what was I going to say? Yeah, go look at that one. I mean, I love talking to her. It's heavy and it's detailed. Go down the Reddit rabbit hole for that. And then if you would like to get a little recap on the Baldoni Lively drama, Fox Nation released their documentary. It's about 32 minutes, but I am a part of it. And if you don't subscribe to Fox Nation, you could subscribe and you can cancel right after. They do a free trial. But I would love for you all to watch that. And I think I should be on Fox and Friends on Sunday morning if you care to watch. I think everything always changes. Like I was supposed to go in today to promote it. And they're like, no, the news is too crazy. So I was like, okay. And so I think, yeah, on Sunday morning, I should be on Fox and Friends. I'll say what time if I'm going in, but yeah, to promote that doc. So it's me and it's like 3 lawyers. So I watched it and I was like, wow, I sound the most unpolished out of all these people. I sound, like I said, I'm like, well, then I saw on Instagram that and they're like talking all this legal. And I'm like, okay, Lauren, you, yeah, tone it down a notch. But yeah, so subscribe to Fox Nation. It's a good informative doc. And what I'll say is I actually learned stuff from it from a legal perspective. So I think it's good. Not just saying that. All right. Now I'm leaving for good. Thank you, Afton. Yeah, I'm glad I can make fun of myself. Because like I said, watching those old interviews with me and like Anne Heche and Tom Jane, I'm like, oh my God, you guys, this is what happened to me. And they're like, okay, cool. No, nobody cares. And like, why do I think somebody actually cares? But all right, done talking. I'm done. Everybody, happy Friday. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate you all. And next week, let's say next Monday night, 7 p.m. tentatively. Okay, bye.